Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving straight into a totally high-stakes topic, securing our local banking infrastructure. We're going to take a laser-focused look at the RBI Information Systems Audit, specifically the framework designed for cooperative banks. Now, if you've ever found yourself wondering exactly what stands between a community's hard-earned life savings and the constantly evolving, kind of terrifying world of global cyber threats, well, you are definitely in the right place. Let's get right to it. So, are local bank savings truly secure? It's a heavy question, right? Think about it. Cooperative banks are literally the backbone of our local economies. They're out there funding local businesses, managing community wealth, and really driving regional growth. But because they manage such significant assets, they've increasingly become these massive, high-value targets for financial cybercrime. Hackers know these institutions might not have the gigantic IT budgets of the global megabanks, and that makes securing them an absolutely urgent priority. All right, here is our game plan for today's explainer. 1. The cooperative bank cyber threat. 2. Decoding the RBI-IS audit. 3. The 7-step audit roadmap. 4. Securing key digital touchpoints. And 5. The benefits of compliance. Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, the cooperative bank cyber threat. Let's be real here. Community banks are exposed by some very specific technical vulnerabilities. First up, we've got legacy CBS, or core banking solutions. A lot of cooperative banks are, unfortunately, still relying on older core banking software. And these legacy systems often have unpatched vulnerabilities and rely on super weak encryption. Second, there are insecure third-party integrations. Think about ATM networks or payment gateways. If a bank connects to these through vendors who haven't undergone rigorous security vetting, they're essentially leaving the back door wide open. And third, the lack of real-time monitoring. The RBI actually requires a Security Operations Center, a SOC, and an incident response plan. Operating without one, that means a bank is totally flying blind if an attack happens. And when these technical weaknesses are just left unchecked, wow, they translate into massive real-world risks. A single tiny flaw in a vendor's link can actually allow hackers to completely bypass the bank's firewall, leading straight to a network intrusion. From there, attackers, or even malicious insiders, can exploit that weak software to execute unauthorized fund transfers. We are talking about outright financial embezzlement. Plus, the fallout doesn't just come from hackers. If a bank fails to secure its systems, the RBI steps in with severe regulatory sanctions. This can mean really stiff financial penalties, restricted operations, or even completely freezing a bank's ability to onboard new customers. So, looking at those immense risks, how exactly do we fix this? That brings us to Section 2, decoding the RBI-IS audit. Well, the Reserve Bank of India has proactively stepped up by instituting the RBI-IS audit. Basically, this is a mandatory evaluation of a bank's technology infrastructure, its internal controls, and its data security. The ultimate goal? 100% compliance with the RBI's comprehensive cybersecurity framework. A totally critical part of this is a deep dive security audit that specifically targets the core banking solution, or CBS, to absolutely prevent any unauthorized data manipulation. It's a highly authoritative, really structured solution to a super complex problem. Crucially, you need to know this regulatory framework is not just a blunt instrument, it's a highly tailored. The RBI uses a tiered approach to compliance. For example, smaller banks with more basic digital operations, they require level I security controls. Contrast that with banks offering the whole shebang, full internet banking and mobile apps. They fall under level 3 and 4 operations, so their security controls are perfectly matched to that specific, higher-risk digital profile. This tiered approach ensures every single bank gets exactly the right level of security without being weighed down by irrelevant red tape. Let's look at how this builds into an actionable process. Moving right along to Section 3, the 7-step audit roadmap. To achieve this mandatory compliance, security partners use a highly organized framework. Audit Phase 1 is all about assessment. Step 1 is level categorization. This is about identifying exactly where the bank sits between RBI level I and IV, so they can apply the correct regulatory controls. Step 2 is the IT governance review. This one is absolutely crucial because it looks at the top-down management. We're talking auditing the board's oversight of IT, reviewing the information security policy, and checking user access controls. Then, Step 3 is the CBS and database audit, which is a deeply technical review of the core banking system to guarantee complete transaction integrity. Okay, once that foundation is assessed, we shift to Phase 2, testing and certification. Step 1 here is network and perimeter security. This means auditing the firewalls, routers, and VPNs to ensure they are fully hardened against external attacks. Next is step 2, VAPT, or Vulnerability Assessment and Penetration Testing. This is the really interesting part where security experts literally try to hack into the bank's ATMs, mobile apps, and web portals to find weaknesses before the bad guys do. Step 3 is the Disaster Recovery, or DR audit, verifying that if the absolute worst happens, the business continuity plan and DR site are tested and ready to go. Finally, step 4 is the Compliance Certification. This results in the formal audit report and certificate that the bank absolutely must submit to the RBI. Now, let's pivot to how these audits practically harden the channels that you and I interact with every single day. Section 4, Securing Key Digital Touchpoints. When we talk about digital touchpoints, the security needs actually vary wildly depending on the technology. On one side of the coin, we have ATM and card security. The primary focus here is safeguarding that physical interaction, ensuring strict PIN security and literally unbreakable end-to-end encryption for card transactions. Contrast that with mobile and internet banking. Here, the focus totally shifts to hardening the digital portals and apps that live right on customers' personal devices, protecting against entirely different types of digital intrusions. The audit ensures both of these distinct areas are thoroughly locked down. But listen, we can't just focus on software and servers, right? We also have to look at phishing defense. This highlights a crucial non-software touchpoint, the human element. Phishing remains the #1 cause of bank breaches globally. Think about it. You can have the most expensive firewalls in the world, but if an untrained staff member accidentally clicks a malicious link, boom, the network is compromised. A comprehensive audit process ensures that bank staff are actively trained to recognize and stop these sneaky social engineering attacks right in their tracks, which brings us to the ultimate strategic advantages of this whole process. And that brings us to Section 5, the benefits of compliance. Going through this rigorous RBI IS audit isn't just about, ticking boxes on some boring regulatory checklist. It actually provides massive strategic advantages for community banks. First off, you secure your banking license, ensuring the bank remains in perfect standing with the Reserve Bank of India. Second, you actively prevent financial fraud by closing the exact technical gaps that lead to digital theft. Third, and honestly perhaps most importantly, you build local trust. Implementing enterprise-grade security completely reassures the community that their life savings are genuinely protected. And finally, it allows banks to modernize with confidence. They can roll out awesome new digital banking features safely, knowing their tech roadmap is completely secure from day one. As security partners Cyber Ambassador puts it so well, we don't just find the problems, we stop the risks. I think that perfectly sums up the mindset we need here. Cooperative banks often operate with totally different resources compared to global banking giants. So what they need is a practical, high-impact approach that acts as a clear to-do list for meeting RBI mandates without drowning the bank in unnecessary complexity. They really need a dedicated security process to translate all these complex regulations into actionable, protective steps. So I'll leave you with this. If hackers don't rest, can your local bank afford to? The stakes for securing our community banking infrastructure have literally never been higher. Proactive cybersecurity isn't just an IT issue anymore. It is the absolute foundation of financial trust in our local economies. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, stay secure, and I will see you in the next one.